Hey, fifth graders. All right, today we're going to dive in a little further with division. I'm going to show you something today, kind of like we did with multiplication with partial products. We're going to be looking at partial quotients. Yes, division, but I'm going to show you two ways. We're going to practice some regular long division, but we're also going to take a look at the partial products division, and you get to choose which way you would prefer or which method you would prefer to use the most. So make sure you copy all this in your notebook. But the first thing we want to look at is let's take a practice some of these partial quotients. Not partial products, partial quotients. So let's write down 336 divided by 21. And we're going to use the partial quotients method. So first of all, let's review. If you remember, we call this number the dividend and this number the divisor. Now, first thing we want to choose is just a easy number. Let's try 21 times 10 equals 210. Now, 210 is less than 336, so this would work. So we're going to take this 10, and we know that 10 is going to be one of our partial quotients. So we're going to take away the 210 now. We're going to subtract here. And now we got to think, okay, what's another number we could multiply by 21 and get a number now less than 126? So we can't use 10 again because that would be too big. But I think I can use 5. So let's try 5 real quick. 21 times 5. We got 5 times 1 is 5. 5 times 2 is 10. That looks good to me. So 105. So our next partial product is 5. So we're going to add another 5 up here. We're going to subtract the 105 down here. Oh, we're down to 21. So I know that 21 times 1 equals 21. So I'm going to take this one and add it. I'm going to try to see if this lets me move this up here. Nope, it's not letting me do that. So I'm just going to erase this original problem. So we have some room up here. So as you find the partial products, you're going to put them right up here. And we're going to do that until we either get 0 or a number less than our divisor. So now we have 1, 5, and 10. What do we do with those? Well, they're partial quotients. So we want to add them together. So 1 plus 5 is 6, plus 10 is 16. And guess what 16 is? 16 is our quotient. It's the answer to 336 divided by 21 gets us 16. All right, let's try one more partial quotients. So let's try 570 divided by 30. Okay, again, I like the 30 times 10 right off the bat to get us our first partial quotient. And as long as this answer, that product, is less than the dividend here, and we're able to subtract from it, it works. So 10, we're going to throw 10 up here. We're going to subtract these, and we're going to get 270. Now, 30 times 10 is 300. I know that's more than 270, but what that does tell me is 30 times 9, because I know 9 times 3 equals 27. Then we have this extra 0, so I know that's going to be 270. So this is my other partial product, plus 9, and that is going to get me 19, because I'm at 0. Now, what happens if we try one where there's a remainder? All right, what happens if we have a remainder? What would that look like? So let's try this one. Everyone write down 930 divided by 40. And what can we multiply by? Well, I know 40 times 10 is going to get me 400. But I also know 40 times 20 is going to get me 800. So I can actually skip ahead here and just do times 20. Or you can do times 10. It's up to you. But in this case, I'm going to do 20. That's going to be my first partial product. And this 800 is going to come over here, and we're going to subtract that. Remember, if I'm talking too fast, you can always pause the video. That's what they're for. Now, 40 goes into 30. Well, I know 40 times 10 is 400. That's too much. 40 times 5 would be half of 400. That would be 200. That's still too much. Let's see. 40 times 2 is 80. 40 times 3, oh, I think we found our winner, because I know 4 times 3 is 12. And we know this 0 can come over here. So 3 is my next partial product. And this 120 is going to get subtracted. And we're going to end up with a remainder, right? So first thing we do is, because 40 can't go into 10, so first thing we're going to do is take our partial products, add them together. We're going to get 23, and then we're going to bring this up here as our remainder 10. So that is really lesson 5-4. We're going to take a look at 5-5 real quick, which is really just practicing our long division. Now, like I said during class, there's a lot of sayings that can help you remember long division. I like the shorter ones, which is, does McDonald's sell burgers? And I know some people use cheeseburgers for the check option. I just like fewer words to remember to help me along with this. So we got divide, we have multiply, we have subtract, and we have bring down. If this is not in your long-term memory, it should be in your notebook. Does McDonald's sell burgers? Okay, let's try one of these. Let's do 461 as our dividend, and our divisor is going to be 50. Okay, remember, we take the 50 and we say, okay, will 50 go into this first digit? No, 50 cannot fit into 40. Don't fall into the common fifth grader trap of thinking, oh, how many 4s go into 50? That's incorrect. 50 is the divisor. Okay, so then we have to stretch it to how many times does 50 go into 46? Still doesn't fit. So we're going to stretch it even further. How many 50s go into 461? So this is where guess and check can kind of come into play. We can say 50 times, well, I know 5 times 9 is 45. So that's probably going to be a pretty good guess and check. 9 times 0 is 0. 9 times 5 is 45. So that gets me 450, which we're going to subtract here. And we're going to end up with 11. So our divide step was 50 going into 461. Our multiply step was right here with guess and check. Our subtract step happens right here. And our bring down step, well, this wasn't the best problem to show for bring down. But what we could do right now, let's just add to our dividend another place value here. And we'll just act like it was 4,613. So after we subtract it, we got 11. Bring down, what do we bring down? Correct, we bring down this 3. And that's going to go right next to the 11. So now we just continue, but instead of looking up here, now we look here. How many times does 50 go into 113? Again, you can do guess and check if you want it. Well, I know 50 times 2 is 100. So that's going to be the closest I can get to 113 without going over. This 2, well, I'm sorry, this 9, forgot to do this step. This 9 goes above the 1, and this 2 is going to go above the 3. And we're going to subtract our 100, and we get 13. 50 cannot go into 13, so 13 becomes our remainder. So our final answer would be 92, remainder 13. All right, let's watch one more of these, and then we'll have some practice problems. Let's try 849 divided by 27. Okay, how many times does 27 go into 8? Can't be done. How many times does 27 go into 84? All right, let's do guess and check. Let's just try times 3. 3 times 7 is 21. Carry the 2. 3 times 2 is 6. Plus 2 is 8. Oh, that was perfect. The 3 is going to go above the 4, not above the 8, because 27 doesn't go into 8. 27 goes into 84, which is why the 3 goes above the 4. Then we're going to subtract this 84, or 81 from 84, and we get 3. Does McDonald's sell burgers? The B, bring down. We bring down the 9. How many times does 27 go into 39? One time, which is 27. And we subtract again, and we get 12, which 27 can not go into 12, so 12 becomes our remainder. Okay, and final thoughts right now are topic 5-5. really looks at the fact of how can you check your division, especially when there's a remainder. Because we all know if we take a simple number like 10 divided by 5 equals 2, well, how can we check that 2 is correct? Well, we would do 2 times 5 and see if it gets us our dividend, which it does. So we can do the same thing here, but what happens to this remainder? Well, we're going to do the same steps that we did where we multiplied these two numbers. So we're going to do it with 27 and 31. But then we're going to add the remainder at the end. So we're going to do 7 times 1, 7 times 3. We're done with the ones place, so we put in our placeholder. 2 times 1, 2 times 3. We add those together, 7, 3, 6, 7, 8. And now we take this remainder and we are going to add it, not multiply, but add it. And when you add that remainder, that's when you should end up with the dividend. In this case, we got 849, which was our dividend.